Hello my fellow gamers, my name is Peter and in this video guide I will show you how to make a good start in Endzone, a world apart. By following this guide you will have plenty of food and water, homes for your population and start to make their basic gear. The second part of this video will showcase many issues which come from overpopulation and how to deal with them. If you're interested to see more videos and guides like this on a number of strategy games, you can follow the link up here and in the description. My game setup is on a medium map size with low mountain count in the survival mode and with other options unchanged. As soon as your new game starts, you need to pause it using the spacebar and take in your surroundings. Use the radiation overlay to check what areas are radioactive right now, but do remember this changes with weather and seasons. From the water sub-menu of the build menu, choose a jetty and place it on the shore of the closest lake. You can rotate it using the R key. Add a cistern for the settlers to stockpile water in it. Place a fishing hut here as well, as this is a simple and fast food source. Next, use the professions menu and add builders. It is important to leave some settlers without a profession, so they will do the tasks of cutting down trees, collecting scrap and food from the forest. You can use the tasks from the build menu to pick up food, but you have to choose a place with no radiation so your food will be radiation free, and pick the place closest to your bus. You should cut down the trees closest to it as well using the gather wood task, and same with the gather scrap task. Unpause the game using the spacebar and even speed it up using the first 3 number keys so the builders can get to work. The problem with the radiation being so close to our starting position on this map is that the settlers will wear out their protective clothing really fast. This is why it is a good idea to use the task to remove radiation and clean a path from the bus to the fishing hut and the cistern. Now add 2 fishermen to the constructed fishing hut, and the cistern requires a water carrier or even 2 as it needs to be filled up and this takes a while. You can add another fisherman if you reduce the number of builders. You can use the flag icon shown here to set up new fields of work for tasks when you clear an area. If you need more settlers for these tasks, take them away from other tasks which have the highest number of settlers. Now you need cabins for the population to live in and have children. Try to place them as close to the workplaces as possible so that the travel time is reduced and less time is wasted. Green radiation is low and it will be removed by the builders before they build the cabins. Gathering food from the forest is a fast and easy way to add more food variety for your settlers, and they will enjoy this. Use the plant collection task on a forest which has no radiation and make sure some settlers are free from professions. More cabins are a must as you need more population and more workers soon for all these production buildings. If you leave any space between the cabins, you can add decorations there. These will give a bonus to the attractiveness of that location, and this increases the cabin's attractiveness and boosts the happiness of settlers living in them. The total happiness which you see in this UI bar is influenced by many factors, and the higher it is, the more bonuses settlers receive. I will explain this mechanic in depth in a future video, and if you have been enjoying this one, please remember to leave a like and even a comment about similar games you have enjoyed in the past. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to see my future videos about this and other strategy games on my channel. In the bottom part of the UI you can see the seasons and their weather. A drought is coming with season 8 and this means you will have no water supply during that season. More on this a bit later. Now what you need to do is build a scrapyard in the part of the map with the most scrap available. These can be buildings, scrap piles, old vehicles and a bunch of other stuff. Only workers in this building will be able to scrap these kinds of objects. Wells are necessary as well because once again you want to cut down on the travel time of your settlers, so build them a water supply next to their homes and workplaces. A well keeper is needed for each one of these. When you click on a building, you can use this option to put it on the top of the construction queue. Now you need to add a scrap collector for the scrapyard, and then you can remove the scrap collection task as you do not need it anymore. Use the flag icon to set the field of work for the scrapyard and clear the space around the bus so you can add more buildings there. You can remove even more irradiated soil around your cabins and workplaces with the radiation remove task. Now you need to add a recycler building next to the scrapyard. In this building, a settler will turn scrap into cloth or metal and other specific resources. To store all of these different resources and keep the settlers efficient, add a temporary storeroom right next to these 2 buildings. Now in the professions menu, add a refiner for the recycler building and construct a forester lodge where settlers will cut down trees, plant new ones, and keep a forest alive and well tended. Make sure to have a lot of open and free space around it and keep it away from the scrapyard but not too far. Because the oncoming drought will make fishing impossible, make sure to max out the fishing hut workers to get as much food as possible before that happens. Add a forester to work in the forester lodge and make sure to uncheck everything but the raw materials, tools and radiation protection in the now finished temporary storeroom. You do this so only the materials you use and produce in this area are stockpiled here. The bus will keep your food and other stuff safe. Once you have recycled 12 cloth, you can construct a tailor shop in your small manufacturing area. This building will produce new radiation protection gear. Next, scarves offer minimal protection. To make more advanced gear, you need coal, and to get coal, you need to construct a charcoal kiln, which is best done next to the forester's lodge as the kiln uses up wood. This UI icon here shows you the lack of protection gear. As children grow up, they take up gear from the storage, while grown-ups use up there as they work. This spends protection gear quite fast, and that is why we urgently need to make more. The game will offer side tasks like this one, where it will reward you if you provide the required buildings and items. Make sure to finish them successfully. If you lack wood, scrap or food, use the tasks and free settlers to directly collect them from the environment, and that is always a fast and cheap solution. Add a tailor to the tailor shop as soon as it is finished to start the production of protective gear. When the first drought hits, the lake will dry up, so it is pointless to have fishermen or water carriers. Change their professions to builders and use this time to add new structures to your growing city. A hunter's lodge can get you food even during a drought, and it also has a purpose in supplying pastures with animals. More on this a bit later. Another way to get food is by having orchards and cultivated fields. Build these close to your food storage buildings like a bus or a temporary storeroom. Go with 7x13 or 13x7 to have a small but efficient orchard or two. Choose the only seeds which you have and add workers. You can discover more seeds during expeditions, which I will cover in another video. These orchards won't grow during a drought, but planting them now is totally doable. Add another forester to speed up the wood production and planting of new trees. Do not worry about the drought as it lasts for only one season, and if you have more than 2000 water and 1000 food stockpiled and about 30 settlers to spend it, you will be totally fine. Now it's time to add another tailor to speed up the production of protective clothing and a hunter to start hunting and gathering meat. This UI icon shows you the lack of living space, so add more cabins and construct them close, but not too close to the scrapyard. If you place them too close, they will be negatively affected by the smells and sounds of production and industry. This is where the attractiveness mechanic kicks in. As the drought passes, put the fishing hut and the cistern back in action to collect fish and water. As you will start to run low on tools now, you need to make more. The first step is to add another recycler and choose metal to be produced from scrap. Don't forget to add a worker there. On top of that, add yet another recycler, but this one for cloth, as you will need to speed up the production of protective gear. And more on that subject, now that we have coal, we can upgrade the production of protective clothing to activated carbon masks, as this is also the requirement for finishing this side task. For you to make sure that you have enough scrap and coal, make sure to increase the number of workers in the scrapyard and the charcoal kiln. With the task completed and reward received, we now have enough protective clothing, but only for now. Tools on the other hand are gone, and this is why we add a workshop. Keep adding the cabins as you need a lot more workers for all these new production buildings. The side task for tools should come up now, and when you accept it, you need to produce metal tools after building and staffing the workshop. These spend both scrap and metal, so add more workers in the scrapyard. Keep adding wells to every place where you have lots of cabins or workplaces, so settlers do not waste time going far for a drink. You also need more stockpiles of water for the next drought, as you now have a much higher population. Completing the task for tools will give you a nice boost, but those tools won't last long. This is why you have to think ahead and add more recyclers for both cloth and metal, and soon tailors and workshops. Now, because in the future you will need more advanced buildings and they require plastics, like the irrigation plant for example, you need to set up one recycler to work on those. From here on end, increase the food and water production and capacity every season and keep adding newly grown adults to these workplaces. The population starts to boom here and adding more and more cabins becomes dangerous. During the next drought, use settlers to construct a school, as you will need to start teaching children about conservation of resources and gear. Next community building is the cemetery, as your population is older now and soon first deaths will occur. You need a mortician to deal with the dead and a place to bury them or risk lowering your population's happiness. In the school, add teachers and teach children to take better care of protective clothing or tools, whichever you have fewer of. To make more and diverse food, build a pasture now and use the hunters to capture wild animals. This will take some time. To keep the population growing and expanding, you need a shelter where the old and non-reproducing settlers will move to and leave the cabins for the young ones to have children in. Make sure to add a new cistern as you will need a higher limit on the water stockpile. As you are probably now past 50, 60 or even 70 settlers, you will need to start cultivating fields for more food and more food types. Keep using the 13x7 size and add 1 or more settlers to work in those fields. Use some of the new settlers as recyclers to get more cloth and metal, and also coal in a second charcoal kiln to keep making resources for new gear. Once the settlers capture an animal, they will take it to the pasture, and there you will finally have an option to start keeping and exploiting these animals for food. With 2 or more specimens of these animals, they will reproduce, and when pasture is at the maximum limit, one will be slaughtered for meat. Make sure to have a water source close to the pasture. As you get close to 100 settlers, things will really start to heat up. You will even get a task to create large stockpiles so that your population can survive the oncoming droughts, but also the much worse weather and catastrophes which await you in this game. This is where the population boom starts to create problems, as your population will go through their tools and protective clothing faster than you can make them. Try to add more schools, educate the children better, and keep increasing your capacity for wood and scrap collection and the production of cloth and metal to keep the tailor shops and workshops churning out tools and protective clothing by the dozens. This game has a lot more depth to it. There are happiness and attractiveness mechanics, which I already mentioned, scouting and expeditions, research, forums and leadership, settlers badges, trade and barter, and even enemies. If you want me to make videos about all of these subjects, please tell me in the comments below and add your own advice for future players. These cards show you more of my videos about this and other games. I want to thank you for watching and I wish you all happy gaming.